Welcome to my classroom. Continuing with soil water movement, we will now discuss saturated movement of water in soils. If you remember in my previous lecture I discussed about Darcy's law. And you know that Darcy's law, it states that the flux of water, that is centimeter per second, or volume of water per unit cross section area per unit time, is equal to the product of hydraulic conductivity and hydraulic gradient. So this is your hydraulic conductivity K and hydraulic gradient. This negative sign denotes that the water flows from a point of higher energy level to a point of lower energy level. That means in direction of decreasing soil water potential. Now we will study this movement of saturated soil in different aspects. That means in a vertical column, in a horizontal column, in an inclined column. So first of all, our first case will be vertical soil column. Now, if this is your vertical soil column, this is perforated over here. So we have saturated soil column of length L. This is point A, point B. At point A, that means at the top of this soil column, we are maintaining a constant water head. Because if the water head is not constant, then this soil may not remain saturated. We have to study the saturated movement of water in soils. So whatever water moves out of A, this is collected over here to record the volume of water. So here whatever will be, it will be volume of water in cubic centimeters. So cross section area of the soil column, because we have assumed in our earlier lecture that when you go for macroscopic description or definition of the soil water movement, then we have to take the soil as a whole cross section area. So here, applying this Darcy's law, this Q is equal to hydraulic conductivity. Now this will be saturated hydraulic conductivity, because in our previous lecture we learned that hydraulic conductivity, it is highest in a saturated soil and it's a function of soil water content or volumetric water content. And here, difference in total soil water potential per unit length of the soil column. Only then it will become hydraulic gradient and saturated. Now we have to calculate in this case what is the total soil water potential at A, what is total water potential at B. And here we are assuming that the solute content in whole of the soil column is similar. It's not varying. So we are negating that solute content. So here total soil water potential at A, this will be equal to, now pressure potential. Instead of metric potential, it will be now pressure potential, because it's a saturated soil, plus gravitational potential. Now, we always find out, the effect of gravity or gravitational potential. Gravitational potential is calculated from, the point of center of gravity, and that is center of the earth. So this is far away from this. In order to make this calculation easy, what we do is we select the reference level. So here in this case I am selecting reference level at A. So whether you select reference level over B or over A or in between, here the value will remain the same. I mean the magnitude will remain the same. If your point in question is that If it is above reference level, then this will be positive. If it is at reference level, then this will be 0. And if it is below reference level, then it will be negative. Otherwise, if you calculate the difference in this gravitational potential, that difference will come out to be same whether you take reference level over here, or at any point in the soil column. So that is why I have selected this reference level to be at B. Now, what will be total soil, this pressure potential at A? Pressure potential at A will be whatever amount of water or depth of water you have kept over here. So let this be H. We denote this by H. This is the height of water which you have maintained, constant head of water which is maintained at A, because higher the height of water, more will be the pressure created at A. So at A, the pressure potential will be H. And what will be the gravitational potential at A? Now A is here, reference level is over here, so it is above reference level. The value will be positive. So what will be the value? The distance between this point and this point is L. So it will be L. Got my point? So I am repeating again. Total soil water potential A is sum of pressure potential and gravitational potential. Pressure potential at A is H. That means the head of water which has been maintained, height of water which has been maintained over point A. And gravitational potential at A is the distance between A and reference level. That distance is L. And it will be plus L because this A is above reference level. As I said, if it is above reference level, it will be positive. Now, total soil water potential at B. Now, what will be total soil water potential at B? What will be? Now, people here will immediately say it will be this plus this. That means H plus L. No, this is wrong. You have to keep in mind that at B, the water is not stagnant. Whatever water is coming from A to B, it is flowing freely out of B. It is flowing over here. So when there is free flow, that means there is no pressure potential. So should I say that pressure potential at B is 0? Yes. I hope you got my point. If this would not have been there, it would not have been percolated, there would not have been any, free flow of water, then this H plus L would have been true. So 0 plus, what will be the gravitational potential at B? B is situated at reference level, and when your point is at reference level, then delta, this psi z is 0. So 0. Now, what will be the difference in total soil water potential? So this will be total soil water potential at A minus total soil water potential at B. Now what is total soil water potential at A? H plus L minus 0, because this is 0. So this will be H plus L. And this is now difference in total soil water potential. When I divide it by L per unit length of the soil column, so you divide it by L, this will become hydraulic gradient. So here now Darcy's law will be flux of water will be hydraulic conductivity multiplied by H plus L over L. You must know this hydraulic conductivity because it will be a function of soil texture. Yes. So H plus L over L, whatever water you have maintained plus length of soil column divided by again length of soil column. This is how you can calculate the flux in a vertical soil column. Now second example is the flux in a horizontal soil column. So instead of vertical, now it is horizontal. Now let us take a horizontal soil column. So this is again your saturated soil, and you have maintained a certain head of water. Say this is your point A over here. So this is H1. So you have the head of water over here between point B this is H2, and say this is your reference level. So this will be now the distance between A and reference level Z, and similarly because it's horizontal column, so this distance again will be Z. Now here I am showing this the head of water being maintained. Supposing instead of this is not a lab experiment, you are doing it in the soil under natural conditions. So you can simply measure this pressure potential with the help of a piezometer. You install one piezometer over here at point A, another at point B. The water level in the piezometer, that will be basically your pressure potential, nothing else. But since I'm showing it schematically, diagrammatically, so that's why I'm trying to maintain a head of water over here. So now again we have to find out the total soil water potential is equal to pressure potential plus gravitational potential. So what will be total soil water potential at A? What is now pressure potential at A? The head of water which has been maintained. So this height is H1. What is gravitational potential? Z. Difference between reference level and point. Because it is A is above reference level, so it will be plus Z. Then what is total soil water potential at B? B, the head of water maintained is H2. It could be any value, it could be even 0 also, isn't it? Plus, what is this gravitational potential? Z. Now difference in total soil water potential is equal to total soil water potential at A, H1 plus Z minus total soil water potential at B, so that will be minus H2 minus Z. This Z and Z will cancel, so it will be H1 minus H2. And if you divide this total soil water potential by L to make it hydraulic gradient, so this will become H1 minus H2 divided by L. This is now hydraulic gradient, and Darcy's law will be Q is equal to minus AZ multiplied by H1 minus H2 divided by L. So in a horizontal column, we have negated, rather here what we call as gravitational potential, it got eliminated because the 2 points, they were at the same height. So there was no gravitational potential, difference in gravitational potential at A and B. After this, now third case will be, this was second, third will be the inclined soil column. Now inclined soil column, it is just like this. So let me show this simply with the help of piezometers. You have installed one piezometer over here, and say this is the level of water over here at point A. At point B you have another piezometer. So the level of water is over here. So this difference is your H1. This is now H2. This is length of your soil column. Again it is saturated soil, and if you have reference level over here, now this is point A, so this is Z1, and here this is point B, this will be Z2. Got it? Now the idea is that here the gravitational potential at point A seems to be higher than gravitational potential at point B. Now again, let us calculate total soil water potential is equal to sum of pressure potential plus gravitational potential. Now what will be total soil water potential at A? What will pressure potential is? H1. And this is Z1. Simply total soil water potential at B is H2 plus Z2. So the difference in soil water potential will be H1 plus Z1 minus H2 minus Z2. And if you divide it by L to make it hydraulic gradient, this will be H1 minus H2 plus Z1 minus Z2 divided by L. So here the hydraulic gradient will be this. You multiply it by you substitute this value in Darcy's equation. So K set multiplied by H1 minus H2 plus Z1 minus Z2 divided by L. So this is how the flux of water in centimeter per minute or centimeter per second, this is how you can calculate. Another case is if you have unit hydraulic gradient. So the fourth one will be now in this case you have a vertical soil column and you have maintained this is the height of water at point A, and similarly the height of water at point B and again this is saturated soil, length L. Now again total soil water potential is sum of pressure potential and gravitational potential. Now what will be total soil water potential at A? It will be, what is pressure potential now? Pressure potential, you can say it is at the same distance as point A. So that means there is no pressure potential, it is zero. isn't it? Plus gravitational potential, this is our reference level. So above reference level, distance between A and reference level, L. So 0 plus L. Then total soil water potential at B, pressure potential at B. Again you can see the water level coinciding with point B over here. So 0. What is then because point B is at the reference level, so gravitational potential is also 0. So difference in total soil water potential will be L at A minus 0. So it will be, if you make it hydraulic gradient, divide by L, so this will be L over L. So this comes out to be 1. So your hydraulic gradient is 1. So Darcy's law now will be flux in centimeters per minute is equal to K sat multiplied by 1. So when your hydraulic gradient is 1, it is unity, then flux will be equal to the hydraulic conductivity of it. So that means there is no driving force. So whatever soil allows water to move, that movement, that flux is equal to hydraulic conductivity. So these are some of the examples of saturated water movement. So in next lecture we will study unsaturated water movement. Thank you very much.